Namaste. This is Timothy Halloran. I'm an astrologer from Savannah, Georgia. This is a weekly astrological forecast for the first week of September 2015. Today is Tuesday, September 1st. So we are now entering the highly healing and magical and transformative month of September that is in fact going to be initiating many brand new cycles that are going to be taking us into the new year. So several days ago we had a full moon in Pisces that was conjunct Neptune. It was pretty magical, it was dreamy, it was ethereal, and many of us can now start to sense this opening of the new cycles. There is this Virgo-Pisces energy that is pouring into the collective. There is this fresh fall time energy that is ready to shift come the fall equinox. We're going to shift into new cycles. We're going to end old cycles. And so there's a lot that is being ready to be released and reborn in this upcoming month, and we're already sensing this. And this is because the full moon in Pisces last Saturday was actually the completion of the solar eclipse that happened on the spring equinox, March 2015. So we are in fact in between the last solar eclipse that began in March. We are now culminating and completing that cycle, and we are getting ready to birth a new cycle come the Virgo solar eclipse, September 13th, that will take us into March 2016. So what's going on this week? This week was definitely kicked off by that full moon in Pisces. Yesterday we had the sun opposite to Neptune. We're still feeling so much of this dreamy, Piscean, wishy-washy, confusing, merging with everything, melting with everything type of energy, with the sun still being opposite to Neptune. We also had the moon move into Aries yesterday morning, and today we have retrograde Venus conjunct Mars in Leo. Now this is very interesting. This is a very powerful, fiery, creative, loving, exciting, extroverted type of energy that's going on this week as Venus passes Mars again. And Venus is really going to be conjunct Mars the next 2 months, as Venus is going to station and turn direct this upcoming Sunday. So what else are we culminating and completing this week is the past Venus retrograde that was really going on since the end of July. So the last month of August has been this fiery, creative Leonian. We're reviewing our values, we are reviewing our friendships, our relationships, our desires. What we want versus what we need versus what we have. And this is another possibility for things to kind of change around again. As Venus is slowing down this week, we are again going back into our values. And because Venus is conjunct Mars, this is powerful. We instinctually sense our values. We know our desires. There's this powerful, fiery, creative energy that just wants to do. It wants to release, it wants to create, it wants to keep going. We're sensing this new direction. We're sensing this excitement. The energy that's been shifting throughout the next month is taking us into energy that is much more productive, that is much more Virgonian, which is about getting our shit together, fixing what needs to get fixed, setting the schedule right so we can keep going. We can keep chugging away at whatever we need to chug away with. So Wednesday the moon moves into Taurus. We have several days of this very grounded, earthy energy. And by the way, this Venus-Mars conjunction is also in a grand trine with asteroids Pallas Athena and asteroids Vesta. Pallas Athena is in Sagittarius, Vesta is in Aries. This grand trine is thoroughly productive. It is inventive and it is focused. Vesta in Aries likes to focus on our own, what we are doing, our projects, our desires. We can really put our head down and chug in our own direction. Pallas Athena, on the other hand, is giving us this incredible creativity and this vision to see into the future. What do we want to create? What direction do we want to head in? What do we want to build? What do we want to see here? And this Mars-Venus conjunction is very loving as well. And Mars and Venus kind of being the more earthly, lower octave planets, this is also quite sexual. And it is sexual creative energy that we're talking about, and sexual creative energy is one and the same. We want to create, we want to build, we want to birth, we want to manifest. So this is very intense, fiery, romantic, loving, exciting energy that we are dealing with this week. And in fact, it's going to stay with us really throughout the next 2 months. So this is very wonderful. The other thing that's really going on this week, yes, is we have Jupiter opposite to Neptune. And Jupiter's actually going to remain opposite to Neptune throughout the entire upcoming month. Jupiter moves somewhat slowly, Neptune certainly moves slowly. These two are remaining in opposition throughout the month of September, throughout this solar eclipse, throughout the lunar eclipse. So there is some very powerful energy going on in the Jupiterian-Neptune realms as well. And this is also why we're feeling this very dreamy, very far out. Yes, it is considerably enjoyable. These two planets, Jupiter and Neptune, do rule our sacral chakra. Sacral chakra, again, has a lot to do with the Venus-Mars energy that's going on. It's very creative, it's very sensual. And let's talk a little bit about this, because the sacral chakra is very misunderstood in today's culture. Because it does have to do with sexuality, it automatically gets regarded as the sex chakra. But this is a very small part of what the sacral chakra is in fact. It is the total reproductive energy, which means that the sacral chakra energy is also responsible for bliss, for moving forward, for developing and growing into greater and greater avenues of bliss, love, truth, expression. Sensual expression, enjoyment is all the sacral chakra. And also, Neptune and Jupiter ruling the sacral chakra. These are highly idealistic. These are highly visual planets. They have a vision, they have a perspective. And so we've also got to open the floor to what this Jupiter-Neptune opposition is really about. Because this Jupiter-Neptune opposition is actually going to be a theme that takes us all the way into 2016. In fact, it's going to take us through the next year. One of the major underlying themes being birthed in September and taking us through the next year is challenging and evolving our collective consciousness, fundamental philosophies, perspectives, and belief systems. And we can already start to be sensing this as the Pisces Virgo energy has to do with our goals, our beliefs versus our virtues. What we are doing in the world that is moral, that means something, that is productive and actually helps people. Virgo is actually helping people. Virgo is health. It is medicine, it is devotional service to others. It is an actual functioning, actually benefiting other people. Neptune, not necessarily. Why? Because Neptune is simply love, belief, goals, dreams. And so highly Piscean people, highly Neptunian people can have their heads in the clouds, can dream big, can have very established concepts of what their beliefs are or not, because Pisces is also always drifting around. But you know, especially when Jupiter becomes connected to Neptune, do we have a propensity to form established perspectives about our fundamental beliefs. We believe something, yes, we believe a dream, a goal, a belief. It is a belief, is Neptune. We can make that our philosophy, we can make that our perspective, and then that basically rules how we perceive reality. That is Jupiter and Neptune. So we're entering a month where there's an opposition between Jupiter and Neptune, which means we need to challenge our fundamental beliefs. We need to challenge our fundamental philosophies, our ways of breaking down and discerning the world. That is going to be a point of focus throughout the next year, as we also simultaneously enter this highly Virgonian time that is about actually being productive, actually helping people, actually healing the world. We need to actually heal the world. And here's the point. In order to actually heal the world, one of the most important things we as a collective species on this planet can do and really change is change our fundamental belief systems and perspectives that we use to discern reality. Now here's basically the underlying thing. We should know that until we are actually productively helping other people, until the medicine is proved, until the medicine is tangible, we should be unsatisfied with whatever belief system, religion, perspective we have. There is a lot of garbage belief systems prevalent in the collective consciousness that has these concepts that you are a good boy or girl for waiting for something to happen later that's going to prove your beliefs right or wrong later. Like the best thing we can be doing in the world is taking up some beliefs that we cannot tangibly see the results of. And then we pat ourselves in the back because since we believe those things, we think that later on we'll get some pats on the back. And this is fundamentally wasting our time. We need to understand that the upcoming year is about changing. This is called evolution. And so I am here to present to you one of the biggest blockages that is stagnating our total collective human growth into the future, and it is the unwillingness of people to look into their own fundamental belief systems, philosophies, and see to it that it actually expands, it actually evolves, which means that there tends to be more to the picture than a lot of what the currently established philosophies and belief systems lead us to believe. There is more to the picture, okay? So what I mean by this is it's actually remarkably fascinating that we can have, for example, a bunch of Christians go off to the Christian summer camp. A bunch of New Agers go off to the New Age summer retreat center. A bunch of scientists go to the scientific gathering where they share their information. Okay, we're giving examples of different demographics of people that go off to their separate groups and then do fundamentally the exact same thing, which is that they group together and do not question the shared beliefs that they possess. We go and we group together, in other words, and all we do together is we repeat what's already been done. And we think that that is going to help heal the world. Virgo is about productively and tangibly seeing the results of our own actions so we know that it is real medicine and healing. Virgo is an earth sign. You can see the results of real medicine. You can see the results of real love. You can see the results of actual philosophies and belief systems and see how well they actually do at making people healthy and happy and restoring dignity to this world that desperately needs to have dignity restored. Why does this world need to have dignity restored? Because we're coming from thousands and thousands of years where the fundamental belief systems have been horrible. And they've needed to evolve. And yet we have group after group after group. The Christians, the New Agers, the scientists, the astrologers, we all come together into our group and we teach each other what's already been taught for thousands of years. And we think that that's going to help. You go to your Christian summer camp, you teach old teachings that have been taught for thousands of years. You go to the New Age group and it's the same exact thing. There's not actually anything new in any of these New Age groups. And here's the most amazing thing. All of these groups and all of these people, they're fundamentally practicing, at the end of the day, the same thing, which is a practice of staying in one's comfort zone. I feel safe in my group because everybody reaffirms to me what I already know is what everybody does, which is the opposite of evolution, which is why this world is not actually healing. Because this world needs more than physical, emotional means. We need to actually get to the root issue of these problems, and a lot of the root issue here is a lack of fundamental understanding of who we are and what we're doing here. which means that we can't get along very nicely. If we actually knew who we are and what we're doing here, we would be able to get along very nicely. This world could be a paradise if we knew who we are and what we're doing here. So what I am suggesting is that there is such a thing as wisdom. Wisdom is not an illusion. Whoever conceptually thought of the idea that wisdom is an illusion is, once again, teaching an old philosophy, and there is a good point to that philosophy, and the point of that philosophy is detach from your mind. You don't know everything. Stop pretending that you know everything because you read some book or you followed some teacher. You don't know everything. So wisdom is an illusion. That is a teaching, and it ironically is a teaching that then gets preached by teachers and taught in books, and then it ends up misleading people. There is such a thing as wisdom, and wisdom is simply understanding nature. Is that so hard to understand? Nature is not an illusion. Nature is what's always happening, and what's always happening is not an illusion. Just because nature changes does not make it an illusion. Just because it's tricky does not make it an illusion. What are we talking about here? We're talking about Neptune in Pisces. Is Neptune in Pisces defined as an illusion? No! Neptune in Pisces is God, is unconditional love, and is God and unconditional love an illusion? No! God and unconditional love is tricky. It's always changing. It's always beckoning us deeper, which is why if we're actually going to be sincere students of God and unconditional love, we need to be okay with evolving our own fundamental beliefs. This is the major work that we came here to do, and until we do this work, nothing else is going to change on the planet. None of the religious wars, none of the nationalism, none of the racism, none of the hate will stop until we change our fundamental beliefs. So that's what we're going to be talking about, is going to be the central theme for our upcoming year. And the reason I'm talking about it now is because we have Venus turning direct this week. Then exactly the following weekend we have the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. And I want us all to be very, very aware of where we are going in the long term so we can understand the energy that is now coming in, because the energy that is now coming in is going to stay with us for a while. And there's really two ways we can take it, yeah? I think we can take this grand-trine and fire, Venus, Mars and fire, and we can be thoroughly productive this week. We can get stuff done, we can bang stuff out, and we can progress, which means doing things differently. Stepping into the unknown, taking chances. Yes, this is what progress means. Progress means instead of going to the scientific communities where you all hang out with a bunch of progressive people that all enable each other into believing that they're all progressive, when in fact all they're doing is sitting together and not changing anything. You group together with a bunch of so-called progressive people that are literally enabling one another to be the same, not be progressive. Progressive means you stand out and you do things differently. So a whole lot of so-called scientific progressive people are actually in denial. They're actually not wanting to progress, which means that they actually don't really want to use science, because science is exactly the same. Science and religion lead into one another. If there's any disagreement between the two, it comes out of a misunderstanding. We should be able to really tangibly understand. That's the purpose of science. And I, being an astrologer, am telling you, you can do this with love, God, and nature as well. Tangibly understand it. In order to tangibly understand these things, we have to challenge ourselves. We have to test ourselves. So this Jupiter-Neptune energy that's going on this entire month and this week, we can also use to escape. This could be a week where we could go really far out into desires. We can take that Mars-Venus, we can have sex all week long, we can go off and have so many adventures and escape this world and have a great time. And we should take advantage of some of that so long as it's in perspective and balance, and we're also progressing. We're also evolving. We're also seeing and sensing and looking forward to the new. We're really sensing this period that we're entering now, going into the new. And there's a whole lot of creativity in this. We had Mercury move into Libra last week. We have this ability to speak and relate to one another, create poetry. All this Leo energy is extraordinarily creative. Jupiter opposite to Neptune is also really great. We're getting downloads, we're getting inspirations. This is a whole month that is the month that we should be meditating. Because in these meditations, this is what real religion is supposed to be. When you're actually doing the work, when you're actually meditating or praying, and not even necessarily just meditating or praying, or simply going out, giving to the poor, working with other people, helping heal other people in whatever way that you're helping heal people, there will be moments of realization. You will progress. It never remains the same. It keeps getting deeper. It keeps changing. The teachings keep retelling themselves in different ways. This is how nature works. If we really think that we should be going back in time to the way it was in order to be saved, in order to be better, you really are delusional. And the only reason I can say that with such obviousness is just look at the world. See where the people are and the people that are practicing those types of beliefs and philosophies, and see where it gets them. This is a universe where you can prove to yourself how nature works. And through proving nature to yourself and seeing, directly experiencing how it works, that's how you acquire wisdom, and it's not an illusion. I don't know how people start preaching this nonsense, but it really starts misleading people in a direction that is not productive. Not progressive. In fact, it's leading people the wrong way. It's leading people into, oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's all an illusion. I guess it doesn't matter if they're all not Christians. They don't have souls. We need to look at history and understand that we don't know everything. We do not know everything. None of the major religions know everything. That's not to say that Jesus, Buddha, Krishna knew stuff. The major religions don't know everything. They are man-made organizations run by men. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of cleaning up to do, and this is the month. This is the month to get deep into it. Get into yourself. Harness this Neptunian Pisces energy. Do your meditation. Start testing. Start proving. Start working. Make it tangible. See your medicine given to the world and watch the results. This is about finding what works to help ourselves and others. This is a big deal time we're coming into. September's a big deal. Let's be excited for this. So let's take the next 2 weeks. Venus turning direct again. We're going back into our values, back into our relationships, back into our desires, and we're seeing how they're working. And we are, again, making readjustments, completing this month-long Venus retrograde. Then we've got the solar eclipse the following week. Let's spend the next 2 weeks to find what in ourselves can become purified. What in ourselves feels disconnected, feels wounded, like, I don't know, there's something lacking. There's something in my philosophy, in my understanding of wisdom that is missing, and it's making me suffer here in this world because I don't understand how something's happening. The loving human experience doesn't really seem to work. The whole working for other people, something's missing, something's hurting my heart. I'm giving all of my energy to everybody else. I'm doing it the cultural way. I'm doing my job and my duty, and I do not feel satisfied. I'm giving myself to everybody else all the time, and I do not feel satisfied. These are the questions that we want to be thinking up of these next 2 weeks, and then we put that intention into the solar eclipse September 13th. And that 6-month interval is going to birth answers and new fruits to that question, to that journey that's going on. This is how astrology and nature works. What we desire and what we ask from the universe, we will eventually receive. It is all about being sincere with what we need. So this is the final and most important underlying message. Those who realize that they need help are wiser than those who think they've got all their shit together. I look out in the world and I see a lot of people who think they got their shit together, and guess what? I know this because I was one of them. This is why I speak with such passion. I have learned through direct, tangible experience. Being someone who thought they knew everything And I still have some pride issues, but it turns out I know nothing. I know something, but I don't know everything. So, this is a means of asking for help from the universe. And that is the most important thing that we can do this month, is see what in ourselves that we need to ask help, not just from another person, not just from our partner, not just from our parents, not from our religious teachers. What do we need to ask help from the universe that is not being given to us yet? It's not being given to us by the spiritual teachers yet. Let's ask these questions. Let's go inside of ourselves and let's see where we need to purify. What inside of myself doesn't seem fixed and functional and working perfectly yet? And if we can go into it with that kind of positive, optimistic, you know what, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to grow, I'm ready to expand, I'm ready to acquire more wisdom and knowledge that's going to change how I perceive the world. Oh my goodness, this is a radical paradigm shift. We're stepping out of 2.5 years of Saturn and Scorpio, and we're stepping into a future where we are really getting rid of all of the invisible chains. This is the result of thousands of years of collective belief systems that have misled us, is that collectively, all human beings on this planet have invisible chains. And we are now recognizing these visible chains. We're getting to the core root issue here, which oftentimes does go into our philosophy, our ideology, our way of understanding things. And through understanding, we can remove the invisible chains that only comes from our own limitations. Our philosophies, our religions, our understanding, our wisdom, our knowing everything gets in the way of us being able to be a functional, healthy, contributing person to ourselves, others, and the rest of the world. So let's make the focus and the dedication on actually helping other people, actually healing, actually healing. We're not going to try to convert other people to another religion so the great teacher of that religion can heal them. Let's heal. Instead of calling upon our angels and friends from high above to do all the work for us, let's start doing it ourselves. Instead of taking out the tarot cards and the pendulums and frickin' asking, is this for my highest good? When it comes to everything, oh, a Mountain Dew today, or should I drink water? Is this for my highest good? Let's start embodying what real health and real change and real evolution is. All right? So this is a great week. Breathe in this energy. Let's be productive. Let's be excited. Let's push on into the future. Creativity at its finest. Love at its finest this week, folks. So, wishing all the best to you and yours. Namaste.